Now, under the Income Tax Act, there are certain exemptions which are given to a person who transfers a capital asset and invests the amount in certain defined things. Let me just explain this to you. So let's say, for example, a person owns a house. Okay? He sells this house to someone else and there are capital gain. Okay, now different sections provide different items. So in some cases you might get a capital exemption on house. Somewhere you might get on a short, even not a short-term capital asset. Some other long-term capital assets, etc. So whenever these capital gains arise, if you invest them into certain defined things, right? Then you are given an exemption of these capital gains. The quantum of capital gains may depend on either the amount invested, okay, on a standalone basis as compared to the capital gains, or it may depend on the amount invested vis-a-vis the total sale consideration or other consideration. We'll see each one of them specifically in the independent sections, right? But what happens in section 54? The first section which gives the exemption is section 54. So section 54 basically provides a deduction under this section to either an individual or an HUF. So if the seller is either an individual or an HUF, then this exemption is available. Which means that if the seller is a company, okay, or if the seller is, let's say, an association of person or a body of individual or a partnership firm, then this exemption is not available, right? Capital asset transfer. So which is the capital asset which should be transferred? The capital asset transfer should be a residential house property. If you remembered in this chapter relating to house property, you would have studied that a residential house property means what? A building or a land appurtenant thereto. So the same definition applies here also. When we talk about a residential house property, what we mean here is that the residential house property should be such that its income is chargeable under the head income from house property. So let me just point it out here. Income of such property should be chargeable under income from house property. If it is not chargeable, then this exemption is not available, right? Second thing is that the residential house property that we are talking here should be a long-term capital asset. That is, it should be held for a period of more than 36 months. If this residential house property is held for less than this period, then the gains arising therefore should be a short-term capital gain, okay, and in that case exemption under section 54 will not be available. So if we see the position till now, we assume that there is a house property from which the income is chargeable to tax under the head income from house property, and it is a long-term capital asset, right? The second condition is which is the capital asset which should be purchased. So let's say I sold this house property and I gain, let's say the cost is 10 lakh. I sold it for 12 lakh, okay. When I say cost, I mean indexed cost, and 2 lakh is the amount of capital gain, right? What the section says is that when you sell this property and you realize this capital gain, in that event you have to purchase another house property, okay. So when you purchase another house property, then only you are eligible for an exemption under this section, right? And what is the quantum of deduction which is available? So let's say 2 lakh is my capital gain, right? Then basically I am allowed a deduction under this section, right? And the quantum of deduction depends on capital gains stroke cost of new asset, whichever is less. So let's say I made a capital gain of 2 lakh, right? And I acquired an asset, let's say either of 1,50,000 or 3 lakh, right? The exemption which is available to me is the capital gains or the cost of new asset, whichever is less. If I see in case A, the capital gain is 2 lakh, but the cost of the property is 150. So the exemption which will be available to me will be 150, meaning thereby that the balance 50,000 will be chargeable to capital gains tax. Whereas if the cost of the new asset is 3 lakh, then the exemption available is lower of the two, which is amount of capital gain, or 2 lakh. You will get an exemption of 2 lakh, thereby your capital gains shall become nil. Right? Now this residential house property has to be purchased within a defined time limit. Okay? And what is that defined time limit? That depends on whether you are purchasing a new house or you are constructing a new house. Okay? If you are purchasing a new house, then it has to be purchased within 1 year before or 2 years after the date of transfer. Right? Whereas if you are constructing a house, it can be constructed within 3 years after the date of transfer. Right? So depending on whether you are purchasing or you are constructing a house, the exemption is available if you purchase the another house within this period. Now there's an interesting thing which happens. Let's say, for example, during financial year 2011-2012, I have some capital gains, right? Let's say the due date of filing the return in this case is 30th September, right? The law says I can purchase a house within 2 years after the date of transfer, but the due date of filing of return comes before. So let's say 30th September 2012 is my due date. Whereas actually the asset can be purchased within 2 years. Okay, if you are purchasing or if you are constructing within 3 years. What the law provides is that in case you want to avail this benefit of capital gain exemption, in case your house is not purchased or it is not fully constructed, then basically you have to put this amount in something called capital gains account scheme. Okay? So what happens is, if you are not able to achieve this condition before the due date of filing of return, the balance amount can be invested in capital gains amount scheme, okay, on or before the due date of furnishing of return of income. If you don't do this before the date of returning of income, then the exemption is not available. This actually is capital gains account scheme. This is a scheme of 1998. Okay? So you have to deposit the balance amount in this scheme before the due date of filing of return of income. If you don't do it, you do not get the exemption. Now the last thing is, what happens, okay, let's say I had a house, I purchased another house and I claimed capital gains exemption under section 54, right? Now this house you cannot transfer before 3 years, okay? No transfer before 3 years, right? And if you do transfer this, then what happens is, whatever were the capital gain exempted earlier, okay, let me go back to that example that I showed you. Okay, in this case, let's say 1,50,000 or 3 lakh as the case may be. If you claim an exemption but you transfer this house within 3 years, then the amount of capital gains which were exempted earlier are reduced from cost of asset of new house. So what will happen is, whatever is the cost of asset of this house, you will reduce the amount of capital gains exemption that you claimed earlier from this, and then calculate the capital gains on this thing. Now because it is given that this house has to be transferred within 3 years, then only this taxation triggers. And for a house, the condition is that 36 months, less than 36 months is a short-term capital asset. Therefore, unless what I'm trying to say here is, if you fall within this clause that your exemption is forfeited, then this will always be a short-term capital gain. right?